Good morning. Aloha from tropical Montana. Montana Skywatchers 1 and 2. This is Samuel Hofman. Today is May 9th, 2017, and I'm giving you guys an early video, about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks early, because there's been some really phenomenal changes, and I'm really excited to give you guys this information. So it's been bothering me a little bit, and I kind of want to get out there. Good old Nibiru, that thing that everybody's been talking about for so long now, has finally become visible again. Now, for you new folks out there, Nibiru has passed Earth a couple of times. It's not new. It's not the first time. We have to get on board with this information. What I'd like to share with you here in this beginning part is we're a collective group. I mean, we're a community of folks who get along and compare pictures on a regular basis, daily information, sky sightings for the last 7 years. Since the beginning of 2010, we've been on this. We've seen close passing planets by eye, and you guys really need to come into this because, you know, we're not guessing here. We've been putting these comparative pictures together. We've got actual sightings of the planets. We've got close-ups. We've got pictures with them in clouds. We've got pictures with flares. We've got pictures between the stuff that we don't want to talk about. We've got all kinds of pictures, guys. We know what we're talking about. This is we're not guessing here. You know, Montana Skywatchers 1 and 2 is a collective group of member citizen scientists doing daily reports over the last 7 years, and I've invested well over 20,000 hours, and that's actually an underestimation. I want you to know that you need to get on board with this stuff and not be fooled by a whole bunch of massive disinformation by several other people talking about constellations and numbers and this and that and the other thing. What you really need to know, they're not from another dimension. They're in our dimension. We've had a binary solar system. Our solar system always has had two suns, always will have two suns. Our dwarf yellow soul is smaller than the standard red star of the Nibiru group. Now, there are 8 planets out there, 7 of which we discuss regularly. The 8th one we can get into in private message, etc. We'll talk about that because it's just there's not enough evidence to really go into too definitive an explanation of it. But we do know where it is, and we do know what's up. And this information is comparative. We've been doing it day after day from the phenomenal members of Montana Skywatchers 1 and Montana Skywatchers 2, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you out there, because without your information we could not have the platform that we're standing on today. We would not have the base information over the last 7 years, and we wouldn't be running where we're at. And we have the information, and I have unfortunately yet to see anyone out there that really has all of this information. And I want to thank all of you people out there that I don't know even, that keep producing great material, but unfortunately you don't know what you're looking at. Now, a lot of the times your best captures is going to be either captured to the right of the sun with a little bit of the sun in it, or to the left of the sun with a little bit of sun in it as well. That way you can see. Now, James, of course, talks about blocking out the sun, but there are occasions that you do need to have that sun. And also, to alleviate lens flare, when you first start filming, wiggle your camera around and talk to the people and tell them what you think you see, and say, okay, well, here's my lens flare. It's going here, 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 and the rest that does not move is real. Okay, I'm going to, you know, it's very, very exciting, and that's kind of why I'm doing it. Nibiru has been around. It's passed Earth several occasions. This is not the first time. We've got many close-up captures of Nibiru, the land masses, and everything else, and that's kind of how we give you the information that we have here. Now, I want to talk about Nibiru's base cloud. Nibiru has kind of like a fingering base cloud, just like Saru, but Saru's is more of a ribbon. It's an even ribbon. But in some cases with Nibiru passing, you can only just see these little wispy ion drop tail clouds and there'll be a little semicircle on the bottom, and you'll see dark, but you won't even see the planet depending on the angle of light and how the light is refracting and shining upon it. Okay, I mean, this is really exciting. I mean, this is I think we're going to come into a really big show here. In the last week, we've gotten a couple of dozen pictures of Nibiru up close and proper, and then there's even some land masses showing, and perhaps James will have the opportunity to put those pictures up for you. I don't know exactly how big his file is yet, because we've just started putting these new Nibiru sightings together. Now, I was watching NASCAR in, I believe, Mississippi the other day, and I saw a full-on, absolute, without even a question, oh my God, look at the size of that, that's Nibiru. Now, I know the difference between Nibiru and Uri crossing, because because Nibiru is much bigger. And for those of you who've been following this information over the last 4 or 5 or 6 years, you'll come to understand that and agree with me. Anyway, I'm going to move on. This is what we've had over the last couple of since 4/15/17. Okay, Atu had moved over as Saturn had been above the sun, and she's moving over to this way. Uri has gotten bigger and was cutting us off over the top. And after Uri moved over this direction, all of a sudden Nibiru became visible again. Saru has been behind this group in the back, while Nepesity is moving farther back that way. These two were doing a little circular dance over on this side of the sun for the longest time, all the way up through 2014, 2015, but that's another story. Atu had come over and Uri had come over, and now they're coming in from behind us. There's a lot of red sightings at night. There's a lot of illumination. Now I want you to remember, Saturn has a yellow moon. It creates the ion trail that sometimes you can only see just a Saturn, or excuse me, her yellow moon, and you will not see a Saturn proper. And the winged illumination, ion illumination, goes around the planet, and if you look behind the illumination, you in some cases will see a Saturn. Now I had somebody from one of the other sites, and I don't normally really want to give them that information, except in the efforts to get the truth out. They sent me a video and never returned any of my messages, by the way, again. So if you're out there watching and you know who you are, come on, man. If you're going to talk to me, talk to me. Don't just get my information and walk away. Okay? And where you're making money off of it. If you're going to talk, let's talk. Okay, Atu has been coming in very close. I mean, Atu has gotten quite huge. And I wish I had my cutout here right now at this very moment. But, of course, Atu has been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and Atu's moon is now quite huge. It's literally the size of this on the paper, but it's on this side of the sun, and it's gotten quite large, and it's crossing. And in some cases, Atu is being separated away from over here. I mean, excuse me, Atu's white moon has been drifting farther away from her. As we go around, we're starting to change our view. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the paper cutouts, and I kind of want to show you what's going on. All right. This is basically at a sunset situation. It can be pretty much the same at sunrise as well, depending on when you're getting your best views. Now, as I'm dropping things here and I'm gathering paper, I apologize. Nibiru, for the longest time, was always on the right-hand side after she passed in 2012. She was on the left-hand side, coming in from the north, headed east. At sunrise, it would have looked like that. It's pretty much the same at sunset as well, but the opposite. Now, Saru, for the longest time, once she came in, was on the left-hand side. Now, what has transpired here, now that we are moving, the sighting is like this. And Nibiru is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you look, you'll see a little greenish blue or blue-green, because Saru is more blue-green than Nepesity is green-blue. Okay, Nibiru is now coming in, and we've seen the land masses and everything else, and the clouds and the little, okay. Now, Nibiru has two moons. It has a larger concentric moon, and that's called Amel Saru. And it's another concentric moon called Nana. It's smaller, and by concentric we mean it orbits around the other moon. Okay? So, we have seen Uri coming and crossing over the top of the sun, getting huge, and then causing huge amounts of shadows. As you can see, there's shadowing going on, even on my own page. And Uri has been shadowing the Earth, and so is Atu. But anyway, so we're now seeing this, because Uri has moved up. Nepesity has started moving farther over to center, and this is, you guys are seeing some greenish at night and stuff like that, and I'm not fully sure yet, but I believe that Nepesity might be coming in from behind as well, which has also been attributing a lot of the mess up in the magnetosphere pics on BP Earthwatch and all those other guys out there. Now, Atu has gotten bigger, gotten closer and closer and closer to us, and in some cases we're seeing her bigger moon like this. And a lot of cases, this is all you're seeing when we're seeing the cutoff flare. Now, when I talk about cutoff flare, when a planet comes across the base of the sun, there will be this illumination, an enlargement, and you have to take that into account. And there's all these people talking about the fake sun. Well, there is no fake sun out there, you guys. This is an illumination. There are changes in view. It looks milky white, and if you don't believe that, it's a messing up of your view. So you're reaching and grasping for straws here, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is this, because we've got thousands of sightings going on. So we kind of know what we're talking about here. Okay, now, Isatum and her yellow moon, which is what creates the ion split tail. The split thing is not Nibiru, like disinformation on media, internet hype talks about. The ion split tail goes around, and in some cases you won't even see Isatum. Most cases you'll just see its yellow moon and the ion trail that it leaves behind. Okay, I also want to talk about the fact that the object cluster group has been coming in front of and beside Attu and her white moon. And you'll see a lot of folks out there are getting some really phenomenal captures of these little individual circles, and they're going, oh my God, you know, I don't know what is what. The object cluster group is huge, it's massive, it's gotten really, really big, and it's getting really, really close, folks. And in some cases, that's all you see, and in other cases, and pardon me, this is yellow but not white. In a lot of cases, you're going to see Attu's moon being this big. And we're getting a lot of captures this week where it's just Attu's moon that's in front of everything, and then the object cluster group is going in front of it, and it's creating all these really cool cloud effects and ion drag-offs and all sorts of stuff. And for those of you who've been watching my videos over time, you will come to understand this. There are there are space clouds. You guys have to take into account the space clouds. They're not all chemtrails. I mean, I got people left to right talking, oh, the chemtrails this, the chemtrails that. Most of what's going on, and I mean a good portion of what's going on right now, is ion created clouds, because there's transfer of ion between these planets, and it creates a cloud effect. There's clouds in space, guys, and as soon as you take that into account, it will make this so much easier for you to see. Now, I don't recommend you take pictures through glass whatsoever, ever. I don't care, welding glasses, nothing, because you're going to get a double effect, and then you're not going to understand what you're seeing. Now, also take into account that there on the side of Nibiru is Amel Saru and Nana, and in some cases you're going to not see Isatum as well as you're going to see Amel Saru. And Amel Saru has been sighted over on this area for about 3 or 4 days now, and I've got many new pictures coming in. So guys, there's a whole two new players, and we also have to take into account the Tool Star. Nibiru has a facial Tool Star. It orbits in its atmosphere. It doesn't orbit Nibiru, it's placed. And it's there. It's always in the thing, which constantly keeps it in straight line with the sun. And I want to remind you that the sun is actually way behind all of this stuff. It's way back there. And what we're only seeing is the dark sides of these planets. And when they cut it off, it cuts off and does this illumination that in some cases can fill the entire screen. We're getting a lot of that, especially down in the Mexico webcams, because down in Mexico, the illumination, because it's a straight on shot through, or more straight, I should say, through our atmosphere, the halos are getting much, much bigger. Now, in some of the northern regions, you'll just see a small illumination. Okay, I'm trying to give you all this information. I've made it up to coming up on 14 minutes here. For you folks that are not on board with this yet, you should really, really check out our information, view my series. I've got like 18 on YouTube right now alone. I've got 30 other videos prior to that, but you don't need to go into it because those are just weeklies. I want you to get on board with this because this information has been collected up by member comparative science. We've been doing this for 7 years. We know what's going on. There's many wonderful scientist reporters, member scientist reporters, whatever you want to call them, giving us daily information. We get this from around the world. We get it from Hong Kong. We get it from London. We get it from Australia. We get it from the East Coast. We get it from Florida. We get it from Oregon. We get it from LA. We get it from Nebraska. The members are all turning this information in, and we're all doing comparatives, and we know what we're talking about. We're not guessing here, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna end it up here right at 15 minutes. You guys take care. Appreciate your help. Appreciate all of you members. Thank you, thank you. Aloha from tropical Montana. Montana Skywatchers 1 and 2. Samuel Hofman. Take care, guys.